Hello and welcome to the Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Byron Rodgers. This podcast is dedicated to the executive protection practitioner, the private security professional. In this podcast, we're going to talk about the mental, emotional, psychological, physiological fitness that goes into being an efficient and effective executive protection agent. Whether you're in law enforcement, whether you're a mom that's looking at how to protect her children, or a father that's focused on how to protect his family, I believe this podcast has something for all of you. We might even get into some tales from the crypts of true Hollywood stories from time to time. I'm doing this podcast because I feel the reality of this job is simple. If you really want to be good at executive protection, it's more than just a job. It really is a lifestyle. And those of you who've been in the game for any serious amount of time, you already know what I'm saying is true. So if that sounds interesting to you, enjoy the show. Out.
Boom. Hey, what's up, you guys? Byron Rodgers here for another episode of Executive Protection Lifestyle. We got George Grant here with us today. How you doing, George?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm hanging all that stuff. But we have a topic which I think is pretty awesome that we're going to talk about. And it's one that I think, when you think about executive protection, you're not thinking about this very topic being something that can literally instantaneously set you on a trajectory for success or failure with a client. And that topic is style IQ, how you present, how you look to the client. So I'm excited, man. So real quick, if you're just going to from the hip, why is style an important component for success in the executive protection industry, George?
Well, style is the first way that you communicate who you are and what you're about. I mean, if you see somebody 30 seconds after you see them, you're talking to them, interacting with them and everything. But that first moment that you see them, you're starting to make judgments about, do they take care of themselves? Are they, are they doing all the things they should be doing behind the scenes? And you bring that forward with you in your first interaction.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And then it's like, if this is the way this person pays attention to detail, takes care of themselves, their standard, they walked out the house like this, how are they going to take care of me, my client, me as a client, my client as a company owner, and or whatever task I give them as a detail leader. So, yeah, man, it's lights out. Very important. And I've been on details with dudes who are way more tactically qualified than me. In fact, the more tactically qualified the dudes are, sometimes the harder time they have with it. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to bring that up. That's one of those things that when you have people who dress or bring themselves for the tactical situation first, I mean, that doesn't translate very well when you're trying to go from, venue to venue with your different clients that have different lifestyles and personalities in different sectors. I mean, that tactical sort of look and everything, it only goes so far and in certain environments.
Yeah, it's a narrow thing. Like, you have to be at that venue. Like, you have to be doing that work. Otherwise, you want a zebra in Idaho. Like, my Ed Caldrone episode out for that Tijuana zebra thing. But man. Also, real quick, if y'all missed the symposium, it was awesome. It was amazing, and we have the replay up on the site by the time you guys are seeing this. So check out my website. Shameless plug for me, ByronRodgers.com. Get the replay of the Protector Symposium. Was that?
I said it's your platform. You got it.
I know. I get to do that, huh? That's what's up. Okay, and George was recommended to me by a number of big guys in the industry to be someone to talk on this subject, on this topic. So I'm excited to really get into it. So the first question I like to kick it off with, who are you at your core, brother?
Who am I at my core? Okay, so I'm a realist. I'm a realist that looks at different situations and tries to be practical about it. As far as style goes, it's one of those things that I learned very early on, that your style can make or break you in a lot of situations when it comes to professionally, working with teams and everything like that. I mean, I try to be real about what the result's going to be and thread that through everything else. People oftentimes like to sugarcoat stuff, beat around the bush or whatever, and that doesn't work. That doesn't bring the results you need.
Awesome. So you're a realist. You're like, shoot me straight. That's interesting. And that really can, I see a relationship between this. Because you I've dealt with both being black and being tactical. I've seen kind of congruent, and I've seen it hold people back. So like growing up, like as a black dude, I had my sister who was from Buffalo, New York, and she was like, "Ain't nobody gonna make me not, be who I am." And like she was like ultra hood about everything, and I was like, "I'm not gonna do that. I just want to be addressed." But then I get my buddies who like are coming back from overseas, and they're like rocking their favorite 511 whatever, or their overseas stuff, and they're like, "This is just how I dress, bro." And I'm like, "That's cool. I just can't put you with like 70% of the clients in like a domestic in CONUS venue." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that mentality can survive if someone's just not being realistic about what it takes to win with other humans.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the guys coming back from like overseas and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so overseas, it was easy if you had like a diplomat that was coming in and you needed to put on a sport coat or whatever, you toss it on, and that's that. The style really didn't matter. I literally had to take a guy off venue one time because he was wearing 511 cargo pants and just tossed a blazer on. He's like, "Oh no, I'm good." I'm like, "No, man, you're not." It wasn't even the internal pocket ones. It was the external pocket cargo pants. I'm like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in this environment.
Yeah, you're like belligerently not okay, bro. Like I get it, but this is the wrong venue. That age is things have changed. Especially now where everyone likes a softer side of Sears, man. Like you got the PC game, there's a lot that goes into that. So how did you get into doing what you're doing, brother?
Well, on the EP side, started out in the Marine Corps. I enlisted and did not even know what the infantry was until I was going to MEPS. Then the recruiter, because I know I just thought all Marines were infantry. I just thought it was like
it's normal for civilians to think that. So it's like what everyone thinks. Actually.
Yeah, and so I get there, and the recruiter sees my clean background, and I didn't drink or anything like that, and he immediately shoved me towards Yankee White, which is like a presidential support. So I ended up going to DC. I worked with the Bush administration in the White House military office for about 3 years. Rolled out from there and spent about the next 4 years in Iraq, either as a Marine,
with the grunts,
or contracting. After that, man, while I was over there, I saw a Craigslist ad for this this Danish company. They had an EP job posting up there, and it looked shady. I'm like, I'm just going to throw this out there and see how this works out. I genuinely thought it was a scam at the time. But then I applied, forgot about it, ended up getting called back, started working with AS Solution in 2012 or 13.
Wow.
And it was, and the Craigslist thing just kind of speaks to how large or small, I suppose, the company was at the time. They were like, fired that out there in 2010, 2011 of who's out there. And I mean, it was so small at the time that I thought it was a scam. That all their websites went back to Denmark. As I got into the industry on the state side, I started learning like, whoa, this is a hitter. And I've been with AS for the last nearly 7 years now.
Outstanding, man. How are you feeling about your career with AS?
Great, man.
Not you can say anything bad on here.
Well, I know I can't, but at the same time, it's one of those. I've had opportunities that I don't think that I would have in any other organization. For a short while there, probably about a year, I was in the recruiting department, and I was working with people coming into the company or just people around the industry. And one of our sales pitches is that you have in our company direct access to the CEO if you chose to. If you decided as an employee just to email the CEO of the company, Christian West, you're going to get a response back. He's probably going to direct you in the right direction to help you out. But it's one of those family. It's a company that's more like a family, and we treat it across the board like that. I mean, everybody connects with everybody pretty easily, and you can actually toss ideas out there, and they'll get responded to. I mean, you don't see
Wow.
that in a lot of companies.
No, you don't, man. So like, it's kind of one of those like everybody matters kind of places. You know, it's
Oh,
like
absolutely.
even the smallest guy on the totem pole can like say something. It's a round table kind of thing. I dig that. That's what's up. That's what's up.
And that's the way I went from EP to recruiting to operations management. I mean, you end up getting opportunities here and there, and you choose to take them, you choose not to, or whatever. But it put me into an interesting sort of niche where I had the opportunity as an operator to work directly with HR, to work directly with those other aspects. So it's unique in that way.
Yeah, I kind of like, because I've always been private, you know, out on my own kind of, and I've always I'm really glad that these companies like AS exist where like you can get off the streets. You can do something other than just like there's like upward mobility all of a sudden. There's like packages and health benefits and like, you know, like it's like an actual bit like business. You're not just like a domestic security contractor. You don't have to be if you don't want to be, you know?
Well, I mean, I spent a long time as a number, you know, and when you get out of that mindset of, oh, I'm not just a number, I have different opportunities in the company that I'm with, not just the detail or the gig or whatever. It's like, This is a large organization. I mean, I think we have, 500-600 employees at this point, and that's, I mean, that's huge for an EP company.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's an exciting time for private security. Rabbit hole. So that's what this is all about. This whole format for me, I'm like, really rabbit hole it up. I don't even care. What would you say is your mission?
My mission
right now? Yeah.
Honestly, I've benefited greatly from mentorship. So in recent sort of, recent developments and stuff like that, I'm working more and more towards being that person on the mentor side and trying to work towards building mentorship programs and working with people coming into the industry, work with younger folks that are trying to, swim their way up this not yet crowded, but still full stream.
Mm-hmm. I dig that, man. Mentorship's big. It's huge.
Yeah.
I only survived my first detail because of mentorship. Because like the right people were like, "Hey, come here," and then I was humble enough to listen to them and just keep that cup half empty, man. When it comes to protection, why do you do this stuff?
I have I have a couple different sources on that one. There's this poker player, Annie Duke. She, world famous. I don't know if she ever won the World Series or not, but anyway, she's in that crowd, and she always talks about how the sum of your life is essentially the quality of your decisions times the probability of the outcome. And I started looking at that. I'm like, okay, so make quality decisions pretty frequently, and things kind of work out. So I started down that path, and then I started listening to Mike Rowe, who he basically says, forget your passion, forget the concept of your purpose and passion and everything, and just start doing work. Do work, and when you start doing more work, hard work, your passion will come. And that's kind of what I did. I got out of the Marine Corps. I started doing work that I could do. It was the beginning of the recession. There was really no jobs out there. I started contracting. And then once I started building from there, I was like, there's a career in this. This isn't just like a 2-year gig that I'm going to go over here and try to get this cash grab. I'm going to keep on, working. So my why is primarily based on opportunities and moving forward in an industry that I've kind of embedded myself into.
Awesome. No, I completely understand that. And it's beautiful. That's like, you don't got to be in a desk. Like when you like all the time, you get to travel around, you get to move around. And like, I don't know, when I was getting out of the Marine Corps, I was just scared of being in a desk. Like I was like, I got to do something, I'm not going to go from Iraq freaking, dopamine daily to just being stuck in like anything resembling what people seem to be doing. What was that formula again? Quality of your life equals the quality of your decisions plus?
Yeah. So the quality of your decisions times the probability of the outcome. So, I mean, you always have that luck factor. Luck is genuinely what's the probability of the, positive or negative outcome, whatever it is. You make quality decisions and you still have to factor in that luck part.
Nice. I like that. And then you find out the truth.
Then you find it. You find it, and then you make more quality decisions, either good or bad quality decisions, And then they might go well, they might go bad, but either way, you keep on driving forward with that and eventually start making good hits.
Dude, I love that, because progress equals happiness. And then you find out that, like, you know, the harder I work and the more high quality decisions I make, the luckier I get.
How about that? It's amazing.
Weird. Like, is there a welfare program for that? Anyway, that's what's up, man. We kind of touched on this, but do you want to say anything else about your tactical background or any of that?
I mean, the thing is to always have it in your pocket. Those things should never go away. I mean, they're all perishable. So keeping that edge sharp, and also recognizing the world that we're in is not necessarily that tactical world. So keeping that edge sharp and in your pocket and whipping it out when you need to.
Yeah. I think now the tactical way to approach the tactical equations just morphed. Like, it's like, yeah, cool, dude, have your hard skills, but like, if you're not socially tactful and tactical, you're gonna freaking die. You're not gonna make it. I mean, like, so like part of the when I get a dude on a detail, when I try to arm him for success, most of the skills and conversation is geared towards, hey, socially, this is what you need to do. Culturally, this is how you need to gain equity. This is what the client likes. Is what, I mean? Like, the tactics for success in executive protection are, they're real right now. They're soft skill centric, and it's not making them less important, because it's like your survivability of the game kind of hinges on it, which is why we're having this conversation.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because you think about, as a detail lead, as a manager or whatever, like, how many times have you talked to your guys about, hey, when you went hands-on with this dude, you did this and this, and you should have fixed this, and very few. How many times did you coach your guys on, like, hey, when you approach this situation, make sure you do blah, 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 or come around this angle, socially rather than physically. So, I mean, it's more often than not, you're needing to coach the guys in the industry and the ladies in the industry, obviously, to approach situations socially better rather than, tactically.
Physically better. Right. Exactly. Time to whip it on. It's time to whip it on. You know what I'm saying? Yep. What made you notice style? Now we get into the style stuff. You know what I'm saying? What made you notice the style first? What opened your eyes?
I needed to buy a suit.
Oh yeah.
I was overseas. And I needed to buy a suit. And I was looking around and I realized I didn't know anything about a suit or about suits just in general, how they fit or whatever. And I found this guy. His name's Antonio Centeno. He has a website called Real Men, Real Style. He's a former Marine infantry officer, and he built a custom clothier company where he built custom suits around the world. So I started watching his videos. I started reading his blogs and stuff like that. And the more I read, the more I realized I didn't really know. I mean, you get a nice suit, okay, cool, but now you have to have shoes that go with it, and there's all these whole world of stuff about shoes behind there. And then you start looking at belts, and then I'm a short guy, I'm 5'6", so I started needing to consider, like, what kind of suit, what silhouette do I need to have, how should the shoulders be built up, or should I go single double breasted or what? So I started going down these rabbit holes in style and realizing that there's a whole world out there, and everything counts, everything matters in some form or fashion. And depending on where you're at, people notice. People always notice your style, but people notice what it is that you're wearing. If you're wearing a cheap fused suit and you're around one of your clients, they're going to look over and know that you got that at Sears. And
you said a cheap fused suit.
Fused suit, yeah. So the construction. Okay, the construction of the suit.
That's a little bit. Okay. Break it down a little bit, man.
So when you go on the lower end suits, let's say I won't name the company, but it's one of those buy one get three free type suits.
Bouncer suits. These are suits I would use for when I'm bouncing. Like after a few nights, I was like, I'm never wearing a nice suit again. All these people in the dark are getting is suits I don't mind tearing to pieces.
Yep. So what they do is they fuse the layers of the suit together with glue. Now they're doing a lot better with it. So they still look clean, but they fuse them together rather than actually stitching the different layers of the suit together. So when you get into like let's say a $200 suit or something like that, it's probably fused. If you get it from a nice place like J. Crew has fused suits, but they're pretty well made. That's going to be $200, $300, $400, something like that. When you start getting into the like a Nordstrom suit, I'll leave a lot of brands out of it, but you go to Nordstrom, you're going to get a lot more well-crafted suits, like actually hand sewn in some places, around the the sleeves or whatever, because they have to in order to have that quality of the suit.
Wow, because I would see dudes with these like wrinkle sweat bubbles that would pop up in their suits.
Yep.
And I remember being like, what the heck is that? I was like, I remember trying to figure it out. I'm like, I think they like glue sticky these layers together because the sweat bubbles start coming after like a hot day, like if you're working overseas. That's interesting. I didn't know that, man. And it all says something about you. So if you were going to say picking out a suit 101, we got ABCs of picking out a suit in here in the questions. Maybe we just hit this now.
Yeah.
ABCs of picking out a suit while we're on it.
Okay. So the first thing, there's three general styles that you're going to see in the States. You're going to see American, you're going to see Italian, and you're going to see English. Now these have to do the silhouette of the shoulders. They have to do the silhouette of the body. The Italian ones are going to be super thin. That's just kind of how they roll. They have minimal padding in the shoulders. They're going to be really thin around through the body, and in the back, they're not going to have a vent. So it's just going to be a clean bottom of your suit jacket all the way around.
So no like pleats or vent or anything.
Right.
Okay.
So when you go to let's say an English suit, English are typically going to have wider lapels. They're going to have a lot more built up in the shoulders. It's going to be a real like classic historical suit that you would see. I mean, closer to resembling like in the 30s or whatever. They're not really accentuated the same way, but you're still going to see a lot of those, one of those old throwbacks about the shoulders and as well as the lapel. So it's going to have a little bit more on the body. And they will have either one or two vents in the back. So either the split vents or just the one straight down the middle.
So that's kind of like on America for the most. I feel like that looks a lot like what I would call an American suit, mafia-ish, a lot of kind of baggier, kind of like just straight, kind of suit.
So then when you get to the States, the American style, American cut is going to be, it's going to have some build up in the shoulder. It's going to have a medium lapel on the front there, but we will oftentimes have two vents in the back. You'll see, so it'll be flat in the rear, and then you'll have two sort of side panels there. Also, pro tip, that's going to be the best one for if you carry. So if you carry, you're going to want two vents in the back because it's gonna hold the rest of the garment to fall flat, rather than if you have a single vent in the back, it's going to just kind of pull the whole jacket in one direction.
Yeah, that's solid gouge. Heck yeah, good to go. And then Italian suits.
Italian
like
suit,
cutter.
Yeah, so that's the one that has the just the straight, no vent in the back. Those are going to be super super thin in the silhouette, at least through the body and in the shoulders. Very little fabric, extra fabric in the arms. Byron, you probably couldn't wear an Italian silhouette. You're going to be whipping that thing out, just trying to tie.
That's what's up. No, thank you, man. The suit game there's a lot to it. So all right, so we're picking out a suit.
Okay.
Any kind of which ones would be more professional? Which one would be more casual? Buttons,
Buttons. So I'm going to say two buttons. If you're buying your first suit, first of all the things that I'm going to say is going to be for your first suit. First suit's going to be your sort of baseline, and all the rest of them you can get kind of crazy with it and everything. But I would say for your first one, go two buttons. And only ever button the top button. I mean, sometimes you don't even need to do that, but only button the top button, leave the bottom one open. It's basically just there for style. Go with a navy. Don't go too light with it. You don't want it to be real blue. Go with like a navy solid, something that's going to have, a medium amount of padding in the shoulders, but you don't want to build it up depending on your body type. And I'll go into body types in a minute. Another thing I would say is on the front of your trousers, no pleats. So there was a thing for a long time where pleats were kind of the way to go. I would say a flat front, no pleat. And when you have your single crease that goes down to the bottom, it varies. If you have a flat front, go with no cuff on the bottom. But if you have pleats, it's appropriate to have a cuff on the bottom. It's just kind of a throwback sort of style thing that's always persisted though.
Interesting.
Another thing that will absolutely destroy the first suit that you buy is if it has functioning buttonholes in the sleeve. So avoid the functioning buttonholes. You can get those added on for like $20 later if you want them. But when you have the functioning buttonholes, that means that you only have so much space that you can actually tailor your jacket up or down. So once they're there, they're there. So after you have it tailored, if you want to have functional buttonholes, just have the tailor add them on. It's like $20, and then you can roll up your sleeves and feel cool if you want to. But I mean, it's kind of your personal preference.
Yeah. Why would you say go with blue instead of black?
Oh, I actually would almost never recommend buying a black suit. That'd be my first sort of color piece of advice is black suits are super narrow where it's appropriate to wear a black suit. And I would say, nightclub bouncers, maybe a driver sort of scenario if you're driving a limo, or funerals. But outside of that, it's very, very rare in a professional environment that you're going to see a black suit unless the dude knows what he is doing. Because it just looks like you're a mortician or something like that.
You're the help.
Yeah, you're the help. So I would always go with, if you want to go towards the black scale, I would go with like a dark charcoal, something that can functionally be kind of more of a gray or not. But when you wear black, you're limiting things like your shoes. I wouldn't wear anything other than a black shoe with a black suit. Now of all my shoes, I would say probably 96% of them are brown. So, the environments where people are wearing black shoes or black boots and everything like that are fairly narrow. The environments, at least today, where people are wearing brown shoes is most things, wearing jeans or wearing chinos or suits. Usually they're going to be brown. So if you're going to invest in a good pair of shoes, like a good pair of, dress shoes or shoes like that, I would always say go brown.
Yeah, no, this black suit thing is a thing because I see details where like black suit, white shirt, black tie, and I'm like,
yeah, you look like the help. That's a good point. Yeah,
and it's usually a bigger detail where we are kind of like a bigger squad doing like help stuff, or augmenting another team or something crazy. I have Grayman or one of my sponsors, Grayman and Company, are one of my sponsors, and they make amazing suits for what we do, and I need to do a review. They just sent me their new shark skin, and I've had this issue. We did an episode in the beginning of the podcast when we were talking about suits and and I was like, how come you guys don't offer a black suit? Because I have everybody, the second I said Gray Man was on the block, everybody's hitting me up like, yo, how come they out for a black suit? Like, I need a black suit. And I personally try to stay out of black suits for the same reasons, because I know you're the help if you're in black, But, and then I always feel bad because I see all the same times. I usually wear like dark charcoal, you know what I'm saying? But.
Well, charcoal is so much more versatile than black.
Absolutely.
And black, it starts narrowing down when and where it's actually appropriate to wear that. And so, I mean, there's great times to wear it, but you can't even wear it. Let's say your client goes to a black tie event. You really shouldn't wear your black suit to a black tie event, because that's going to stick out like crazy. I mean, the levels at which a tuxedo versus a black suit, really almost any black suit, it's going to look just light years apart. I mean, it sticks out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, absolutely. That's what you said it best. If you're going to wear a black suit, you better do it right. It has to look so good. You're obviously somebody is like the only way to put it. Yeah, I mean, like, that's how you got to do that. Man, that's good, Gouch. So shoe selection, are there any brands that are more comfortable than others that you want to talk about, or, we're still on this suit thing?
Tie selection. Okay. So I have mixed feelings about ties in our industry, and I'll get to that in a second. But shoes, I absolutely love shoes, dress shoes, and boots, and all kinds of things. If you're going for boots, I'm going to plug somebody who's not in any way sponsoring me. I just think they have a phenomenal product. Thursday Boot Company. Thursday boots. They're about $200 pair of boots, and they will last forever. They're $200 pair of boots, and they'll last not only forever, but they're made to the same quality as a lot of the handmade shoe companies, and stuff like that. So, I mean, hands down, my personal favorite shoe company for dress shoes, not for just casual shoes, is Edmonds. Edmonds is one of three sort of classic American handmade shoe companies, and they've been around forever. I think since the 20s or something like that. But they have boots, and they're beautiful boots. I'm actually wearing a pair of their boots right now, but those are stupid expensive. They're, a pair of their boots is going to be like, $300-400 easily, unless you get it like some Black Friday sale or something like that. Thursday boots, on the other hand, and I have a couple pairs of Thursday boots. They're made of the same quality. I honestly could not tell you the quality difference between the two of them, handling, touching them, wearing them, but they're drastically cheaper and they will last you forever. And you can resole them if you destroy those things, as long as the what we call the upper, the leather part of the top of the shoe, as long as it doesn't have any holes in it, they can fix those up to basically brand new.
Outstanding. And that, y'all, like real game. Like I have about 4 pairs of boots and I just basically just get them resoled, refurbished, and they are lasting me. I mean, they last me years and years and years and years and years and years. So getting a good pair of boots for a good price is ultra good. And then don't throw them away. Just take them and get them refurbished, unless like some part of the leather is like pierced or irreparably damaged. You got a pair of shoes for a long time.
There's Alan Edmonds, I always plug them, talk about them and everything, but there's some of the style forums that I'm on online, and they have like guys have their fathers or grandfathers, Alan Edmonds from like the 40s, that they have kept up, and they just sent them back to Alan Edmonds. They had them redone and everything. I'm talking like 50-year-old shoes that are just pristine. Yeah, if you get a good pair of shoes, and that's kind of like the value proposition, right? Is that you're paying $300 for a pair of shoes, but it can literally last you until you die.
Yeah, that's great. That's the way we wish everything was.
Right?
And you were saying that you were a little torn about ties.
Oh, ties, yeah.
Considerations on ties.
I hate the idea of having something around my neck that somebody can grab. I mean, if they grab a collar, it'll pop a button, big deal. So the other side of it is like, okay, we'll wear a clip-on tie. Well, clip-on ties are okay. I mean, you can get a good clip-on tie.
Yeah.
I mean, they are out there, but my problem is that like if you move wrong or something happens and something pops out, and it's like, I mean, you look like
you're clip-on tie guy now.
You look like a middle
clip-on tie guy. Yeah.
So I'm super torn. I don't have any solutions for this one. It's one of those like just calculated risks. If I'm going to be wearing a tie, I'm wearing a tie. Like this is part of my life now. But it's one of those things that always bothers me, that the fact that you're putting a leash on yourself, and should something come up, I mean, now that's an advantage.
Yeah, the one thing some OGs taught me back in the day is at least take the back strap, the part that they can use to tighten your tie and choke you out, and tuck it underneath your shirt. Yeah. So you at least make it so they can only get this part, man.
Yeah. I mean, if only the henchman and John Wick knew that trick.
Right? Seriously. No, absolutely. Okay, so that was that was a good little hip pocket suit selection course. And you were and I think I originally interrupted you. You were saying you noticed this whole style thing when you first had to pick out a suit.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I started learning about style through suits, and then I started realizing that there's if you go down the rabbit hole, there's equally as much information and stuff out there about everything. Yeah. And I really kind of whittled it down. There's in the style community, there's some discussions as to excuse me. There's some discussions as to the proper phrasing of this. But what I go with is the 3 things that the fundamentals of fit, form, and function.
Okay.
So between the 3 of those, so the fit's going to be the most important thing. You always need to have stuff that actually fits you and fits you appropriately. The form of it, what's the style behind it? Is it, what are you wearing? What are you rocking? What are the colors and things like that? And then the functionality of it. The functionality, if you're, working all day or whatever, and then you have to transition your lifestyle or whatever. I'm just gonna use this as an example. If you come home, you have kids, and you go straight from home or from work to home. I mean, if you're dressing yourself every day, having that be functional, if you can like live in both styles of your life, or both, factors of your life. So trying to be functional with that kind of thing. If you go to the work side, when you're moving from venue to venue, if you're going from, let's say a dinner to a Monday Night Football game or something like that, and you're with your client, having something that's functional, that if you really need to, you can wear a blazer or a sport coat at dinner. You can drop that into the car, toss on a jacket, and now you're more appropriate for the Monday Night Football crowd or whatever. So having something that's functional every single day that you're wearing, it's actually the reason that I transitioned away from a more formal look like sport coats, blazers, and stuff like that, and went to kind of more of a rugged sort of style archetype, we could say, because it started popping up more and more functionally in my life. That I'm like, all right, well, this is kind of ridiculous that I have to drop my blazer for this, or I have to change this for this. I just kind of found a common thread where I could elevate my style, elevate whatever it was that I was wearing, but also have it be more casual and have it be a little bit more functional in my day-to-day sort of walks of life.
More kind of versatile. And
Yep.
Nah, man, I agree with you 100%. Like before my day starts, I'm thinking about layers. I'm thinking about venues. I'm thinking about possible places where I might end up and how I want to be literally on this scale. And it's like going out on a mission in Iraq. It's like, yo, it can be like hot as heck during the day, but by nighttime, it's going to be freezing, bro.
Yeah.
You have to have your layers like dialed in, you know? So I do the same exact thing, man. Like, and I will go with like multiple, like actually it turns out to be layers. Like I'll throw a jacket in the car just in case I need to throw on a sports coat for later, or I'll throw on like a nice coat. It's not a blazer, but it's like a nice slick looking jacket. I'll have like a vest. I actually be rocking vests a lot. I feel like I'm like, no one rocks vests anymore. It's like this like game, you know, it's like this lost art, you know, but I love vests with like a tighter shirt underneath. You know, and then using your button downs for like the concealability that layers give you and stuff like that. So that whole like forethought of your venues.
Well, so talking about layers and carrying. So, you know, some guys carry every single day in all environments or whatever the case is. And what do we do? We wear an untucked shirt, toss your shirt over as a covering garment or whatever, and there you are. Well, when you have layers, when you open yourself up to different layers and stuff like that, even thin layers, I know in California or in the summer, we'll say it gets warm and people don't want to, you know, wear layers or whatever the case is. There's options out there to both have, let's say that the look is going to be better if you're tucked in, if your shirt is tucked in, but you're also going to be carrying. I mean, boom, layers are taking care of you right there, because you can both have the style and the elevated sort of look of having your shirt tucked in, and also be carrying or having whatever gear that you need or want. They're, you know, easily accessible. So, I mean, it gives you some options whenever you kind of do different things.
Yeah, 100%. And I like also what you said is you found a style that has a versatility built into it. Yeah, which is also that's pro tip.
Well, you mentioned style, and I mean, specifically my style. And one of the things that I got a lot of crap for a while, they're like, oh, well, I'm not a fashion guy like you. I'm not a fashion guy. And I started having to explain the difference between fashion and style. And fashion is literally art. It is art to be worn. It's seasonal. People will come out with it, whatever their line is for this year and everything. And the things that you saw on the runway as those visual, physical pieces of art in 2008, you don't see today. You don't see them for 5 years. You might see them like 10 or 12 years from now, because there's probably at a 20-year sort of cycle where, you know, right now super light denim jeans they're coming back around right now, and that's the late 90s thing. So you see that cycle where all the old styles come back, retro and everything. But in general, fashion is art to be worn. Style is communication. It's another side of who you are, and it's a way of you projecting everything ahead of time. Now, style, everybody has style, and there's obviously different levels of it. Like, for instance, I could not rock your style. Like the personal Byron uniform that you wear day in and day out, I couldn't rock it. But on the other side,
thank you,
couldn't rock mine. So it goes in both directions, where your style has to be authentic to who it is that you are. And there's a thread that talks about essentially it all matters and it all comes together. I have this phrase that everything counts. When I was in grad school, I had a professor, and he used that phrase, and I kind of stole it from him. But what he would talk about is, he would say that everybody has a scorecard under their name. And for better or worse, your scorecard is reflecting everything that goes on in your life. You showed up late to this interview, or you didn't pay a full tab or something like that. All those things factor into who it is that you were, who it is that you are, and people notice. And so what he would say when, you know, somebody would show up late, or somebody would kind of, be banging away at their computer while he's doing his lecture, and he'd ask him a question, and they I don't know. He'd be like, he would just put his hands up and say, everything counts, and then he'd move on to the next person. So I stole that, and I kind of just looked at it as like my life mantra of everything counts. Like the for better or worse, the things that you do, the things that people see you do, the time that you didn't respond to that email and it fell off and you forgot about it. Like everybody factors that into all those things that that they see about you.
This is outstanding. This everything counts thing is so good. I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about it on the social media. I'm gonna make some of that. That might even be like the tagline for this interview.
Perfect.
That's true. That's fantastic, man. Heck yeah. What are common mistakes you see guys make in the field when it comes to the style game? Like, what are the common pitfalls? They're common because a lot of people make them, and I see if we can illuminate them and kind of help that.
Okay. Okay. So the first thing, and I kind of hit on this in the fundamentals, is the fit. The fit of your clothing is probably the number one thing that people mess up on. They wear shirts that are too long, or pants that are too baggy or whatever. Maybe not dressing for their body type. I have a couple little charts that I've just had forever because people ask me different style advice and stuff like that, and I have to consult like, okay, well, what's their body type? And actually, to back that up on fit, that's probably the first thing that everybody should do. Stop. Take a hard look in the mirror,
yes,
and figure out exactly what you got going on there. Because what I hear more often than not is people say, they're like, "Hey, will you help me go shopping?" and blah blah blah. Which, by the way, low key, secretly love. But
I thought you were about to be like, "Don't ask me to take."
No, okay. I love it. I'm like, we're gonna go shopping. Let's do it.
Turn into a side business, man. Start charging hourly. Huh?
Right? What's your budget?
Yeah.
So I'll go shopping with people and everything, and one of the first thing that I always hear is oh yeah, but I just started working out again, so I'm gonna lose some pounds or whatever. And what I always have to tell people is like, you need to lose like a viral video amount of weight in order to have your actual body type change. So I'm talking, you're going from like a 240 pound dude to like 180 pounds. So it has to be it has to be something that's like drastic, and people are going to be sharing it all over the internet. So take a look in the mirror, accept what you have going there. There's your palette, and just work with it.
Yeah.
But think about celebrities. How many thicker celebrities do you see, or how many really, really petite celebrities that you see that don't dress well? Very few. I mean, because what they do is they have stylists, or maybe they just have their own education, have their own style about them. And they will dress to their body type, and they will dress as accurately and cleanly as possible. So for instance, the different body types, let's say you have like what's called an inverted triangle. An inverted triangle is where you have a body type, that is, where you have kind of slouchy shoulders, you have a thicker waistline, maybe thicker hips, or whatever the case is. Wearing the right style of jeans for that. I mean, people will automatically say, "Oh, we'll go for super loose fitting jeans because I'm a big guy and everything." Well, probably not. You want to go for a little bit slimmer of a silhouette there. So go with either regular or relaxed fit, but don't go for loose fit. If you're going to go for loose fit, I mean, that's going to be the guy who's genuinely is like, he's pretty overweight there, and the loose fit is not going to be the go-to for, I would say, really anybody in our industry, because I mean, people have to be in shape to be able to be protectors and stuff like that. If you're a liability from the beginning, I mean, that in itself is going on a but yeah. So I mean, just knowing your body type and saying like, okay, well, I'm more of a square. My shoulders and hips are about the same size, so I can get a pair of jeans that actually complement that, rather than going super skinny, because I think that's what I want to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dress to your body type. I for sure have to. Like, I have like these thighs, man, and so like for me, finding jeans is a thing. I usually have to get a bigger waist than my waist, but in order to get it right. Now they've really gotten it right. 511 actually has some fantastic jean options, in my opinion. They have some like slimmer fit. Actually, they're tapering a lot more their cargo pants for all you cargo pants guys. And there's stuff, but nothing against it. Like I rock their stuff too. But they're tapering them more. They're being more responsible with those shapes. Go ahead.
I was going to say with that, two things that I would tell you for larger thighs. Obviously, you're going to want to go a little looser on the waist and then tailor it in. And piece of advice for everyone out there, find a good tailor. Don't go to your local cleaner because they say they can do tailoring. Find a good tailor in your area and go to them, build a relationship with them, and bring their stuff consistently to them because they will take care of you so well. The other thing, because you have the got large thighs, you're doing a lot of squats. Get your pants a little bit longer than you need to. Okay. So, like for instance, I'm about a 30-inch inseam, but I get 32s, and then I tailor every single one of them up. The reason is because it drops that crotch just a little bit, and it gives you just a little bit more room in your thighs, so it makes it a little bit easier to move around and live in. And the other thing for thighs, look for about 1 to 3% elastane in your jeans. Every single place will say in it the percentage, and when you shop online, or it'll be on the tag. But always look for 1 to 3% elastane. If you start getting past 3%, they start being like, what are they, jeggings?
Tights.
Yeah. but try to go for 1 to 3%. It's going to be enough stretch, just enough little flex there that it works, but not enough that it kind of looks ridiculous.
Oh, nice. Pro tips, man. That's what's up. I was rocking Lululemons for the longest, bro. Lululemons and what was my man's? And then 511 made like a golf pant, which was like the answer to the Lululemon golf pant, but it's like more rugged and it's got pocket. I think it's 6 and 8 in case you need to drop a magazine in there, which is a perfect cell phone pocket. It's like right, in between your hip pocket and your front pockets. Man, that's some good gouge, man. That's solid. That's ultra technical too. No, I dig it. Because the pants thing, you gotta have that right. What's up?
I was gonna say for pants, check out Bonobos. Bonobos has a really good line of semi-stretchy denim and semi-stretchy chinos. And so for everyday wear, for everyday pants, stuff like that. Another one's gonna be Mott and Bow, MOTT and Bow.
Okay. I'm putting all these down in the notes so everyone will have access to these once this thing kicks.
Also, sorry if I jack anything up sponsor wise. I'm just throwing names out there.
Good, dude. Cool. This is fantastic. We're all man. We're abundance minded. What would you say about shirts? I've been looking for a good place to get like a tailored shirt for like that'll for dudes. Do you know of any good companies that do like tailored shirts or like make nice shirts with a little bit of stretch in them, but still like professional?
Yeah. Okay. So the first one's going to be Proper Cloth. I love Proper Cloth. Okay. They do tailored shirts both casually and for dress shirts.
Huh.
And then another one's going to be Tailor Store, TAILOR store.
Okay, Tailor Store.
And both of them are going to go straight off of measurement. So they're going to show you how to measure, how to do the different parts of their style sort of system. And then they'll just start cycling. They'll create your own size, and then they'll send you stuff. They're pristine, and I don't know that I've ever had to have anything re-altered or anything like that. So those two are really good.
And this is online based?
Both of them are online based, yeah.
Boom! That's what's up. That's good. That's good stuff, man. Heck yeah.
If you don't want to go tailored, and so tailor's obviously going to always be a little bit higher price point. You're looking at $100 for a shirt. But, if you, outside of that, if you buy a decent shirt and take it to the tailor and have $20 tailoring, it's going to end up being about $100 anyways. So both of those are going to be about $100 a shirt. If you are not going to go the tailored route, try Mizzen and Main. I actually can't spell it right now, but Mizzen and Main is a really good company. They have a little bit of flex to their stuff. They're like a technology-based company where they use just a slight blend of synthetic and cotton. And so the just get nerd out a little bit on the synthetic and cotton thing. When you go too far and so the synthetic side, you have to be really careful about how you clean them, how you iron them, and everything. If you have just a little bit of a synthetic blend in there, then you're fine. You can iron it without worrying about them puckering or burning or anything like that.
Wow, it's like the style professor up in here, man. That's what's up. Good to go. If you're going to talk about a time you've seen this style thing have a negative outcome in the field, what would you say?
I can talk about myself because I've done it myself.
Yeah.
I have overdressed for a situation where I'm thinking like, okay, here's, I'm gonna walk in and just be my guy, and that's one of those when keeping it real doesn't work, or whatever that story is. So basically, I just came in overdressed. I realized very quickly that, hey, like I gotta drop this sport coat. I'm looking like a goon in here. I didn't go the tie route, but it was in Silicon Valley and it was probably my first or second time down there, where I kind of looked around and realized, all right, well, everybody else is in t-shirts and I have a sport coat on. Like, this is not working out.
Yeah.
The other time was I was going to a dinner. I knew I was dressed appropriately, we'll say, for the venue and everything. The problem was, so I rock pocket squares, and do you know what a pocket square is? Sorry, I think
it's like a thing you put in your pocket, right?
So it's.
I know what it is, but it's still coming up.
It's a small accessory. Sometimes they're silk or linen or whatever, but there's a bunch of different ways to fold them, and it goes in your suit pocket jacket suit jacket pocket.
I like leave them in a square. I don't need like some dudes do these like awesome like pocket square paper mache dragons and stuff, especially down south in the hood. They be getting crazy with them things, but it's like a little strip. That's all you see.
Yep. So that's what I did. I went to a restaurant. I had some triangle or something like that, and it was subtle, but it was still clearly out of place. And it was one of those. As soon as I kind of looked around for a second, I'm stuffing it all the way into my pocket just to get it out of sight. And so that's where I would say, it could be a pitfall of you think that you're doing everything right in terms of your color's on point, your fit's on point, everything. You just look amazing. And you walk into the room and you're like, I do not fit in right now. And then, then you gotta back off. You gotta figure out how you kind of fix that problem. But I would say more often than not, people are coming in under. But when you're trying to be conscious of style and stuff like that, the next pitfall is coming in over, and how you deal with that when you do come in over.
Yeah. No, I haven't come in overdressed. I don't really have too many negative outcomes that I've seen. I've seen a lot of guys come in underdressed when I'm like, dude, you gotta do better, and some guys are just really averse to it, and I'm just kind of like, this can cost you if you don't figure it out,
It's funny because in the style community, one of the biggest no-nos is wearing a backpack with any sort of suit, blazer, sport coat. So one of the biggest no-nos. And there was a short period there where I felt the same way. But then the full circle to that was you got to have your gear. I mean, there's only so much stuff you can do in a one shoulder strap or whatever. And I started realizing there's that functionality part of it. I mean, you can't just leave your bag in the vehicle, and you also can't just sit there and walk around like with it in your hand or whatever. It kind of looks ridiculous. So figuring out a way that in the right environments to have that with you, or have it, backpacked, or, having a different bag option or whatever. But I mean, there's going to be some cases in our industry and in our line of work. I mean, you just got to rock it. You just got to rock the backpack because you need the gear that you need, whether it's comm stuff, medical stuff, whatever it is, you need it with you, and you need it handy and accessible. So, I mean, sometimes you're backed into a corner, and that's just the reality.
And that's just what you got to do. Yeah, no, absolutely. These days I'm able to stay out of a suit. Quite a lot. Like, I rarely get into one, but when I do get into one, I have like probably my latest 511, like one sling bag would be the only thing that I would use. It's like a single strap, kind of nice wide single strap would be the only probably backpack type deal I would throw on there, just because you want to save those shoulders and like all that fun stuff, Okay, so what would you say about principles or tactics when getting dressed as an EP agent?
Okay, so as the adage goes, the time for preparation was yesterday, and today is too late. So
outstanding.
So what I would say for that is building your wardrobe as an interchangeable wardrobe, or what is also called a capsule wardrobe. You have a color scheme, just a general color scheme that for most people, for most dudes, they are going to be focused in the blues, grays, whites, maybe some black, or, if you're, somebody who rocks a lot of black. There you go. There it is.
So, I wear a lot of black.
but then you have your accessory pieces, right? Where there's some. I rock a lot of green, so like a lot of OD green, or if I'm really going for a big accent or something like that, I'll rock red. So reds will be accents or whatever. Anyways, where I'm going with this is you have an interchangeable wardrobe of different items that all you have to do is basically close your eyes, grab a couple things, put them on, and it looks good. And there's a lot of tactics and techniques about how to do that. Basically talking about your layering, whereas your base layers should be thinner. They should be closer to your body. When you get to the mid layer, it's going to be a little bit looser. And then your jacket layer or whatever, it's going to be whatever jacket you kind of need for that. But the more you kind of align your entire wardrobe when you're buying one more piece, the easier it turns into like, well, I have literally 250 options if I just close my eyes and grab 3 things. Yeah.
Okay.
So that'd be my first tactic.
That's good.
Is to and I can probably give you a couple good links for how to build a capsule wardrobe.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, toss that in there. Next thing is clean your shoes. Like if you clean your shoes today, tomorrow when you're walking out the door, you can just toss them on and they look good. People will wear sneakers and they have the white soles around them and stuff like that, and they just look dirty. So
yeah, don't be that guy.
clean them when you take them off, clean them the night before, something like that. And then when you are closing your eyes, grabbing 3 things and in the dark, put them together and you look good, you can do the same thing with your shoes and just grab them, toss them on and go. But that's kind of one of those very Forrest Gumpy sort of things that you can tell a lot about somebody by their shoes. Like that's legit. And if you look, you can tell so much about them.
It's the truth. It's like when you're in the club and you're like, yo, and you look at them girls' feet. It tells you a lot about breezes by their feet, man. That's an old school tactic we used to use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Hey.
Them toes, man. Anyway, so all right. So we're picking out a wardrobe in the executive protection industry. I like what you said about the color palette. Mm-hmm. I struggle with this, to be honest with you, because I just always want to wear black. It's like all I ever want to wear.
Yeah.
So like I have
that's okay though, because that's part of your personal uniform.
Yeah.
So everybody has as their style, their sort of personal uniform. When you have no idea what you're going to wear today, you grab a couple of things that you know are just your go-to stuff. And that's essentially your uniform. And so rock and black is just kind of your thing. So it's part of the Byron signature, you know?
Yeah. That's funny because I was talking to I was like, dude, you got to start wearing some other colors. And the other side of me was like, bro, this is just how we roll. And then the other side of me was like, if you weren't doing protection work, would you be wearing black every day? I'm like, yep. And I was like, well, then we're just going to get really good at this. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get real good at this.
Okay. So when you're not working and you're wearing black on black on black, there's a couple things that you can do to toss in a little bit of color, toss in a little bit of something else, and it just kind of gives you a
little accent. Yeah.
Little accents, right? The first one is your watch. Okay, so my watch and most watches, really, you can just interchange the band. The band. I mean, it's super simple. Essentially, all you do.
Yeah, you get that little pop. You know what I'm saying?
You just call that off, and it makes it so much easier to just toss in a little bit of red. Like I said, I wear a lot of blues, greens, grays, and then I have red on my wrist, and that's just kind of my way of elevating my outfit, elevating whatever it is that I'm wearing just a little bit, just enough that it shows that I put thought into it and that I was ahead of the game rather than like grabbed whatever watch with whatever band that I happen to always have.
No, there's a real, like, if you're an observant person, you can really thin slice somebody's level of attention to detail and professionalism by looking at their clothes. I can do it. Like I will, depending on your time management skills and the way you're dressing and your linguistic choices, I'm pretty confident. Usually I'm pretty understanding about a person's about their efficiency, effectiveness, and a lot about their personality after a few minutes. I'm like, okay, cool.
Everything counts.
Everything stinking counts, man. I love that. That's come. I'm gonna take that with me now. Thank you for that one. That's a good one, brother. All right. So you're getting dressed. You've got a palette. You've got you've got things that you can grab. We're paying attention to all the little details. What would you say about knockoff? Is there anything you want to say about getting dressed in executive protection?
No, I mean, it varies so much principle to principle and environment to environment. So, we do advances on, every venue, on every detail and everything. Like when you do it, pay attention to the world that you're walking into, pay attention to what the staff are wearing, what the
baseline,
the patrons are wearing and stuff like that. Figure out where that baseline is, where, how appropriate it is that you should be wearing whatever it is. So just incorporate that into part of your advance, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, like a style baseline for the advance. Go ahead.
But knockoff watches you mentioned, that is one of those things that I really like watches. I don't know a ton about them, and it's one of those things I'm starting to learn. But a knockoff watch, more than anything else, it destroys credibility. Like, because if you think about
a lot of layers and a lot of levels.
Yeah. I mean, so for instance, our clientele, if they happen to be a watch person, they know what your watch is. They're going to see it out of the corner of their eye, and they're going to be like, that's this and this watch, and it has this action or whatever the case is. So if you have like a Rolex Submariner is an automatic watch. It has a certain mechanism on the inside that shows the second hand moving in a certain way. And if you have a knockoff watch, it's probably not going to be an automatic. It's probably going to be ticking, tick, 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 tick. And your client, should they happen to see out of the corner of their eye, they're like, that's a Submariner, but it's not an automatic. Like, what's going on there? So it looks like you're cutting corners. It looks like you're just kind of, trying to polish a turd, so to speak, So just be authentic, be the person that you are. If you can't afford to have a $10,000 watch sitting on your wrist every day, don't buy one. Don't pretend to buy one. Get a decent watch. I rock a Seiko myself. Get a decent watch that's going to be both look good as well as be super functional. And nobody's ever going to turn around and be like, oh, well, he's trying to, front, or he's trying to do that. No, nobody's ever going to question it. We're like, I like your watch. And I get a ton of compliments on a $200 watch. I mean, it's just kind of it's just being authentic and being who you are.
100%. I couldn't agree more. This is my one tactical piece of gear. Like, usually I stay away from these types of things, but like the Garmin Fenix 5 is what I got.
Beautiful.
And it does all kinds of cool things. The real reason I got it is because all my dudes who really are gear dudes, know their stuff, all had it. And then I went to Israel and I was working with some Shin Bet dudes, and they all had them. And then I went somewhere else and I saw it, and I was like, this is the cool watch. I want it just because everybody had it. I don't know half the things it does, but it gives me some really good data about just my heart rate, my steps, and everything that I'm doing. That's really what I enjoy the most about it. But which this is, I'm sure, is a style no. If I go into a nice venue, I got a classy face I just put on. I can just turn
Beautiful.
So I'll just put it on Bright Link right quick and just walk in and be like, I got my digital Bright Link on. Don't worry about it.
I love it.
I got real watches in the, over there for when we put on a suit. But yeah, man, this is my everyday one. That's what's up. What would you say? Okay, so there's something I've seen out there in the game.
Sure.
Have you had any run-ins with the 511 suit? The 511, guys just throwing a jacket on over some 511 cargo pants. Is that a thing? Can we do this? What would you say about that?
So I saw that. I saw that once. I actually had a guy.
511 cargo pants.
Yeah.
With a suit on.
Yeah. No, I saw that once, and the person didn't even think there was anything wrong with it, and they're at a client's house. They have the external cargo pockets on their pants and everything. And I told them hey, unsure about the dress code. I know historically what it was going to be. Bring a jacket so you can kind of gauge it out and everything. And so he rolled up in cargo pants, and he kind of looked around for a second, tossed on his sport coat. He was good to go. I swung through there a little while later, and that was a no-go. Actually, I had gotten a complaint from the principal, and I mean, completely warranted. I can't defend it at all. I got a complaint from the principal, and it was one of those things you have to kind of massage out in the situation. But in general, I mean, something like that's going to skyline a person, especially when it's out of place or when there's a certain expectation on the client side or whatever. And they could have done everything else right, done that one thing wrong, and they look incompetent. So, I mean, that's one of those things, kind of like a knockoff watch or whatever, destroys credibility, even if you're doing everything right.
Yeah. And the thing that gets me about this type of stuff is it's ultra understandable. You may have been overseas contracting and this may have been something you could get away with, like ultra easy.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have to understand, like, our culture as warriors and protectors and like all of these different things is usually not the culture of the people that we're protecting. And so there's this, like, you just don't want to skyline that fact. You don't want to make the disparity more obvious. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it is cool that you've got a client that's like ultra, like, kind of from some part of where, you are from as an operator. But a lot of times there's like this whole, like, we got to have the security guys around. There's guys around, like there's that stuff you got to deal with. So this only amplifies that kind of cultural friction that we're already kind of trying to avoid.
Yeah.
In the game. So that's.
Have you ever done the little thought exercise of what kind of principal you would be?
All the time, bro.
I mean, I think about that. I'm like, would I care? Like, I know that they care a lot about this thing. And I mean, I get it's reasonable on both sides, but I always go back to, man, would I care? And I mean, it really, obviously it depends, but at the same time, it's like, I think you start getting into a different headspace when everything is kind of dependent on your own personal preference. I mean, why wouldn't you care? If you care a little bit, why don't you just care a lot?
Yeah. No, I know. That's a fun thought exercise. 'Cause I'd be like, man, like everyone like judges the client, like, oh, I can't believe these people, And I'm always like, you don't know what you would be like, dude. Like, if you were a billionaire, you can do whatever the heck you want, bro. You might suck to work for. I mean, like no one knows. Money's an amplifier. So
absolutely,
it's a fun little experiment. I think about it all the time, actually. So, closing questions: favorite quote or mantra? And you dropped that one on us.
Okay. Well, I actually have another. So I have a family motto, and it's been kind of a thing for my family for a while. But I think it's super applicable in our line of work, and it's be where your feet are. And the thing is that, like, I would come home, I'm dealing with work, I'm, long hours, whatever the case is. And I would come home and I'd be around my kids or wife and everything. And I'm half there and half on my phone because I need to take care of this one last thing. Of course, one last thing. One last thing. Yeah, right. And so we, at one point we just had this little mantra: is be where your feet are. If you're here, be here. That's fine. If you have to step away and you got to go do work or whatever, but if that's where your head is at, that's where you are or whatever, then put your feet there. And it goes tactically, that goes professionally, that goes personally. I mean, if you're tactically in a situation, be present, be there, be where your feet are.
I love that, man. Be present, be present, especially as I'm learning as dads and husbands. It's like, I don't get a lot of time with my, wife and my like family, but the feedback I keep getting is, when you're here, and that's really what matters. The quality of the time you're spending is really what's ultra important. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, you guys good? Like, you don't feel kind of neglected? And they're like, no, we're good. Just when you're here, you're here. So that's a good one. That's a real good quote, man. How would you like to be remembered?
I would say as a mentor, as a teacher. And obviously as the best dressed in the room.
Oh, that's what's up, mama. As the best dressed man in the room. I like that, man. That's what's up. Style. That's funny. Okay. Habit, or that makes you a better person, better protector, or that you'd like to pass on to the audience.
Okay. So I'm a little quote factory, right?
Okay.
And General James Mattis, the man.
Yeah.
He had
Saint of the Marine Corps.
So he had a phrase where he said, "You can't be better than everyone and everything, but you can be smart. So you can be smarter. So keep reading." And so what I took from that is just always hustle. Always be the guy that's trying to, get the next edge to be sharper, faster, better, or whatever it is, because you can't be better than everybody at everything, but you can always be smarter. And the only way you can be smarter is by keeping up, working.
Yeah, man, that's fantastic fantastic. Fantastic. I feel like a lot of people look at folks who are like at high levels and they think like they can't ever be there, they can't ever get there, they can't ever be those people. But like this kind of really speaks to that, because like just keep on learning, and then I always say, like, if you want to live a higher quality life, make higher quality decisions. You want higher quality decisions, get higher quality information. Then we come back to the beginning where you're talking about the sum of your life is what, like the quality of your decisions and the probability of those outcomes. Yep. And then you start getting lucky. Yep.
It's beautiful.
It's just this cycle. It's this weird circle. And
it's a cycle that every time you come back full circle again, you're just a little bit further than you were, a little bit higher, a little bit better, whatever. And it exponentially compounds when you keep doing it year after year, day after day, or whatever it is that your little focus is on.
That's awesome, man. And progress equals happiness. Heck yeah. So where are you? Where can people find you? What are you up to these days, my man?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, just my name, George Grant. You could find me on Twitter or on Instagram at EP_style guy. That's EP_style guy. And then at asolution.com. That's where I hang my hat and where I go around to the mountaintops and tell everybody it's a place to be. So you can find me there, as well as all the other cool stuff that we're doing.
Heck yeah, man. That's what's up. And the links will be down below, y'all, to check out on my website, byronrodgers.com. It'll be on the website. Yo, man, this was a good conversation, George. Thanks so much for coming and hanging with us. Like, I think people who listen to this are going to get a lot more out of it than they thought they would. So,
and I'm actually going to be following up with a lot of different things on blog posts and social media. I'm going to do like little tutorials on stuff, how to iron your shirt. And things like that, because everybody thinks they know. But then there's these little intricate tips and tricks that you can do to either be more efficient or just have it turn out better. So I'm going to do a bunch of those little things, and those things are kind of coming down the pipe pretty soon here.
So this style guy thing is like a brand that you're building.
It's this little passion project that I started getting support from a few people saying like, this is a really good idea. You should probably put it out there. And at first I was a little reluctant, because I'm like, how is that going to be received in the industry? Everybody's, cool guys and wants to do this, that, and the other. And I'm going to tell people how to iron their shirt, or, specifically their collars on their shirt or whatever. Like, no, this is needed. People want this. So I started doing it, started recording videos, which, by the way, I also learned not as easy as it looks. No, once the light comes on, like, it's recording, like things are happening, and you start, it just doesn't work out as well as you thought it was going to. I mean, we're all cool until the light comes on.
Yeah, dude, that's funny. I'm going to send people to this EP style guy, dude. Perfect. Keep doing that. Get a website, man. Like, I will. Make it into a brand, bro. That's like, if I would have, man, like, people in the game, and we'll close after this, but like, this is the best time in history to be in private security. There's so many opportunities and assets. Like, you have companies that give you a whole package of health benefits. You got guys like the EP style guy. You got conversations like this being had, that you can just download for free. There's exit strategies. You got upward mobility. I'm glad to hear you're kicking that project off, because I think it's much needed. I think it's huge. So heck yeah, man, I want to commend you for that. That's good stuff. Well, I'm
really glad that you're doing what you're doing with this, the podcast, as well as the symposium and stuff like that. I mean, let's say 5 years ago, you're talking about a very, very small industry that nobody's really talking to, anybody outside of their little network that they ran into on this venue or that venue. And now we're starting to connect people at a whole nother level. So, thanks for that. And I think what you're doing, just putting your word out there and putting everyone else's word out there too. I mean, that's incredible. That's great.
A rising tide lifts all ships that are at sea. You got to be at sea, though.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
What's up, brother? Hey, man, this is good stuff, man. I'm glad we made this episode. Thanks, George. I appreciate
No problem.
it.
Anytime.
Heck yeah. All right. Out.
Boom. And to support this podcast, go to executiveprotectionlifestyle.com and contribute to our Patreon account. That Patreon account is what helps me make this podcast possible, contributing to this brand, what we're doing here, making it so that I can bring better guests on, making it so that we can plan more events and just expand the contribution to the private security industry, and also to making America a safer place by teaching people how to protect themselves and the mindset behind that, the lifestyle behind that. You guys are already killing it. $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever you can do that you know you would probably just lose in the mattress anyway or spend on McDonald's. Hey, you want to put it towards something that's going to good use, put it towards a podcast, and get involved in our Patreon account at executiveprotectionlifestyle.com. And if you want to find me, that's byronrodgersmotivation.com. Do whatever you can, contribute whatever you can to that Patreon account, because it makes all of these things possible, ladies and gentlemen. So much love. Thank you, and thank you for making those contributions. You guys rock. We're already doing amazing there, and it's just because of you guys. So thanks once again for those contributions. Boom. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast. This whole entire thing actually just started off as a Facebook group that blew up and is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing, executive protection Facebook group online. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. Follow us on Instagram and check us out at executiveprotectionlifestyle.com. If you want to find me, that's byronrodgersmotivation.com, and I'm on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. So until the next podcast, y'all, stay sharp out there. And as I say it, one mind, many weapons. Talk soon. Out.